Thank you for joining CEEN Caribbean News. I'm Candice Ming. Economic growth in Jamaica is not where it needs to be, but the prospects are building confidence in Jamaica's business interests. This is according to the findings of the Survey of Business Confidence Second Quarter 2016 report. The survey conducted by Market Research Limited was presented by its head and pollster Don Anderson on Tuesday. Mr. Anderson says the overall business index fell slightly in the second quarter of the year from the all-time high it recorded in the first quarter of 2016. But while this may seem like a negative for the new government, Mr. Anderson said such a slippage is normal in an election year.
And we have seen this for every post-election evaluation, that the indices fall off quite dramatically after an election, mainly for the reasons that businesses, and more so the consumers, begin to express concerns about the ability of the new government to deliver on election promises. When I say new government, it's not party-related, it's a government that takes office after the election. This had been classically demonstrated following the 2002 election, the 2007 election, and the 2011 election, perhaps not to the same extent. This is the second quarter that we have completed since the February election, 5 months ago, and the early indications are that a pattern of significant decline after an election might very well be changing.
The Business Confidence Index recorded at the end of the first quarter was 144, which slipped to 141.6 in the second quarter. However, Mr. Anderson notes that 141.6 should not be viewed negatively, as it is the second highest recording in the 15 years of the survey, the highest being that recorded in the first quarter of this year. This, he says, means that Jamaica's business confidence is at an all-time high.
Business confidence, therefore, remained fairly constant, an indication that businesses have remained buoyant and indeed expect that growth will take place in the economy. It is an indication of the level of confidence which the business sector has expressed in the government, a confidence that has remained consistent since the middle of 2015. So this is not new. We have seen that development since the middle of 2015. Part of the reason, of course, was the fact that the government had been passing all the IMF tests and that there were signs of growth and that the private sector in particular expressed great confidence in what was taking place and government's policies. Businesses, then, have not seen a change in the government's approach to dealing with the economy, despite the change of administration, and in a nutshell, are given a resounding yes vote and support for government's economic policies.
Along with the expected economic growth for Jamaica going forward, the survey suggests that 69% of Jamaican firms expect improved business conditions. In fact, 74% of firms anticipate that their profits will improve throughout the year.
This is the same level that was recorded in the first quarter 2016, making it again jointly the highest recorded over the 15-year period of the survey. But this information has to be juxtaposed against the fact that a higher number of firms indicated that profits going in over the last period was not as good as expected. This is not a contradiction. Instead, it does suggest that the pace at which profits were expected to grow might have been overestimated. This has not, however, daunted the firms' views that their profit situation is still expected to improve during the year, but the pace at which this will unfold is the issue at question. All of these strong indices feed into the notion, strongly held over the last 4 quarters, that this is a good time, or this is as good a time as any, to invest in the economy.
The Consumer Confidence Survey also recorded high levels of optimism. The Consumer Confidence Index in the second quarter stands at 155.6, proving that consumer confidence is also at an all-time high.
The second quarter consumer indices reveal that consumers are at this time at the highest level of confidence. And this is the highest level ever recorded in the 15 years of the survey. The first quarter of 2016, the index was 147, and this significantly increased to 156 in the second quarter, representing substantial improvement over the 3-month span. It should be noted, of course, that this is still within the accepted honeymoon period after an election, and that generally, as we have made the point before, consumer confidence tends to dip dramatically during the third and subsequent quarters immediately after an election. There are, however, corresponding positive indicators that suggest, and it is only a suggestion at this point, that the consumer confidence fall-off usually witnessed after an election might.
In news from Trinidad and Tobago, a no-confidence motion to remove the Law Association President Reginald Armour and his deputy Jerry Brooks failed miserably on Monday. CNC 3's Avashi Tawarupnarayan has the details.
The meeting collapsed.
No vote was taken at a specially convened meeting of the Law Association to decide whether its president and vice president should be removed. Reginald Armour and his vice Jerry Brooks will hold on to their seats. But one of the members championing the no-confidence motion against the duo says his faction won even before they started.
The Law Association was clearly embarrassed into action.
Wayne Sturge, along with 24 other attorneys, signed the requisition because, according to him, those at the helm had failed in their duty to the nation.
They failed in their mandate miserably, and that was the reason for the petition. The minute the petition came into existence, they then came out and said what their position was on the bail bill. And then up to this weekend, they came out and they had to say, to refute the fear-mongering of the Attorney General and rubbish his claims that 1,300 prisoners would automatically be released.
Over 300 attorneys, we are told, showed up at the High Court for the special meeting, but it was off to a shaky start. You see, according to the constitution of the association, the 25 petitioners should all be paying members, but one was not. The most startling revelation would come when 13 of those who signed the petition today claimed they were misled.
They came to the meeting and said that they had no intention of calling a meeting for a vote of no confidence.
But Opposition Senator Wayne Sturge says that's furthest from the truth.
Regrettably, a few spineless lawyers who shouldn't have the honor of calling themselves lawyers, because I can't understand how a lawyer could say, I signed a document without reading it.
Mr. Armour calls the action unfortunate and signals a dissent of the profession.
It is undermining the legal profession. It is bringing the legal profession into disrepute.
Urvashi Tawarupnarayan, CNC 3, Port of Spain.
In other news from Trinidad and Tobago, opposition parliamentarian Prakash Ramadar continues to defend his recent trip to Jamaica. Ramadar has received backlash for accompanying the Dr. Keith Rowley-led delegation to Jamaica last week. There are assertions that his involvement in the trip was akin to betraying the opposition. There have been calls for him to step down as Member of Parliament for St. Augustine. Speaking to the Trinidad Guardian, Ramadar says that if his constituents want him gone, he's willing to step down. He says, quote, "For those who believe this was a betrayal in any form or fashion, they do not understand who I am before and while in politics," end quote. Ramadar also responded to claims that he bypassed opposition leader Kamla Prasad Bisesa. The former Congress of the People leader says that he attempted to get in touch with via text, a phone call and a voice message prior to the trip, but was given no response. He says he has not spoken to Mrs. Prasad Bisesa since his return, but denies that a rift has developed. Mr. Ramadar says he's ready and willing to relay the outcome of the Jamaica trip once asked. When we come back, the Jamaica Labour Party administration's latest push in its efforts to abolish auxiliary fees at secondary schools.